Hello there, and welcome to the first ever podcast of the Bundy Files. Today, the episode will be 70s and 80s Sweet Talker. We will be discussing the obsession of Ted Bundy in the 1970s. In this three-part series, I will be explaining the obsession of Bundy in the 70s and 80s, the modern day, and also 30 years from his execution. For background on Bundy, I'll explain that he was a serial killer in the 1970s. He also confessed to killing 30 women before he was executed on January 24th, 1989 by the electric chair. So let's talk about the 1970s, the year of Mick Jagger and David Bowie. But there was one man who managed to steal the spotlight from these icons: Theodore Robert Bundy, a law student who worked with the police for some time after getting his degree. Bundy wasn't getting the attention due to his degree. In the early 1970s, Bundy was actually a mystery killer in 7 states until he got arrested by speeding in 1975. After being taken into the police office, he actually matched the description of the killer police had been looking for. This got Bundy straight into the public spotlight and on the news by the press. Ted was always described as charming and handsome by women from the moment he was seen on the news when he was arrested. It was a big thing for a serial killer to finally be found, but women who were interviewed claimed that Bundy looked normal and some believed he was still innocent because he didn't look like a killer. Believe it or not, Bundy actually had a few romances when he was alive from the 1970s to the 80s. He had a girlfriend named Elizabeth who he lived with but also looked after her daughter, and they were briefly engaged over the Christmas of 1973. By looking after her daughter, Ted looked like the typical family man. Elizabeth knew Bundy before he became a killer. This could explain why she didn't believe that he could be a killer in the first place, because they were in a relationship when he started. While Bundy was on trial for most of his crimes, he got engaged to a friend from 1974, Miss Carol Ann Boone. They got close in 1979, then got married legally in 1980 while Ted was on trial for one of his crimes. After the breakup of Ted and Elizabeth, he got engaged to a friend from 1974, Miss Carol Ann Boone, who he got close to in 1979. While he was on trial for one of his crimes, they actually got legally married, which was in 1980. Carol has personally claimed that she liked Ted from the moment she met him, that he was a shy person, but she also believed that he was innocent all the way through the trials. Even when he was sentenced to death, she saw him as an innocent person. While Ted lived his last years out on death row, they had a daughter. But then they got divorced in 1986, which was 3 years before his death. Obviously, Carol didn't want to be connected to someone like that years after his death. I personally believe it's amazing how Bundy is called good-looking, charming, and he is still known like that even though he was killing women. But there's never been a reaction to a serial killer like this before. You can name John Wayne Gacy and Charles Manson. Yes, Charles Manson had followers, but they weren't like this. Yet I understand that people can have an interest in true crime, but when women lust over a man who actually kills women, it makes you wonder why. This makes a question of, are looks everything? Did Bundy's shy personality help lure victims that he kidnapped? These questions are something that we will never find out from the victims, but we can find out why people obsess with him in the 21st century. Tune in next week for episode 2, Modern Day Heartthrob. Thanks for listening.